Hi, everyone. I mean, I will say, I'll second that. Travel and wine, unfortunately, just go too well together.
Yes.
Thrilled to be here and thrilled to meet you, Sara. We've thankfully spent the last couple of days talking. South by is clearly a connector. I think everybody is excited to just be back out there from a travel perspective. So why don't we start with introductions? Tell me a little bit about your role at Roose.
Sure, absolutely. So hi, everybody. I'm Sara Gable. Archery wines, we like to say that we're worldly wines for the curious. Our mission is about bringing consumers a better, consciously crafted glass of wine that fits their lifestyle. And so basically what we're trying to do is bring beautiful wines from some of the best international areas and bring them to the US and pack them in cans so that that's an easy and affordable way to really enjoy the wine. It opens it up to interesting occasions, which I think that we'll get to throughout our conversation. And it's just a really fun place to be because wine is just really fun. My role there as the Chief Marketing Officer is growing the marketing team. We are working hard on a lot of our integrated marketing communications, of course, but also building a really strong portfolio as we're expanding our distribution. So we're really thinking about it in the traditional 4 Ps.
Awesome. And, Archery Roose is really seen as a challenger brand disruptor. Tell us a little bit about the mission and how you think about the disruption that's created.
Yeah, so we do think of ourselves as a challenger brand. Just being in the can category alone is a unique space for the wine industry. And so the way that we really like to think about it is how can we do things differently to push against a lot of the conventions and allow consumers to come in and relate to wine. Sometimes internally we talk about, there's stigmas around wine being a little inaccessible, or are there ways that we could welcome more younger users into the wine category and reduce that stigma? So we're thinking about that from the packaging. Our cans are basically single serve. There's 4 cans in the pack, and that's the same price as a bottle. So there's a bottle of a can. So it's a great value for a tremendous liquid within the packaging. So we think that that's pushing a little bit. Because of the can format, we are more sustainable, and so that's really changing the category convention a little bit. It's expensive to ship heavy bottles, but we bring the wine here to the US and we send it out in cans, so it allows us to pass along that value to the consumer. And it all comes to culminate in a lot of our marketing communication. We're trying to stay with that thematic and do things that maybe other wine brands might not do, or kind of push the conventions a little bit.
Okay, well, lots to get into there from a sustainability perspective, travel, all that stuff. But before we do, just taking a step back in your career, you came from CPG, and now we're obviously in the alcohol space. She also owns a dry bar, which I'm like, how do you sleep? When do you sleep? So tell us a little bit about your journey there and your side hustle of entrepreneurship.
Sure, absolutely. I did start my career in traditional CPG. I have worked at some of, I think, the best companies in the world. I'm so fortunate to align myself with really strong brands. Starting at Heinz and really learning a lot about the food world. And I even got to spend some time on the food service side, which really opened up a lot of knowledge for where I need to be now with bars and restaurants. Then I moved on to Nabisco. I enjoyed working on all of the cookie and cracker brands. And then alongside Colgate, where I learned a ton about claim-driven marketing and really understanding how much rigor really goes behind a lot of the communications that you need to put out there. And so those were phenomenal years. I was able to learn so many fundamentals. And then I thought that I was going smaller. Well, it was a big step for me, going what I thought smaller at that point in time to Boston Beer Company and working on the Sam Adams beer brand. So that was my first transition into the alcohol space. But then from Archery Roose, I jumped even further. I was like, well, let's go even smaller. Archery Roose is a nimble 20-person company. And so it's so fun to be able to pull from all those past experiences and just wear all the hats in marketing. It's challenging because I'm learning a ton. There's so many things that I didn't have to do because I had teams working on them. But to your point about the blow dry bar, I am a franchisee with them. I opened in, I joined them in November of 2020. Interestingly enough, same time as I started my role at Archery. So I did have that moment of panic of, oh my gosh, how am I going to do both of these things? And what's great, because they were both small and nimble, and you have to wear so many hats in both of those arenas, I am able to transfer a lot of those skills between the two. I mean, I run the social and digital media for Global Dry Bar, and so there are skills that I can better coach my team that are running our social media for Roose, because I'm in it a little bit further than I've ever been in it before. So there's kind of a lot of transfer, and then just structuring ways. 9 to 5 is Roose, 5 to 10 is Global Dry Bar, and that's kind of, you rinse and repeat and you go at it again. And it's really fun because you get a little bit of just interesting diversity in all of your days.
I mean, I can't, the days I have are sometimes 10, 15 hours. I can't imagine having something that I fully run on the side. I'm a big, consumer of dry bar. I love my hair blown out. Where do you actually own it? Is it in the Upper West Side?
My blow dry bar is down in the financial district of New York. I live in the Upper West Side, so I get to take the 2-3 express train right downtown. But the other thing that I planned for when Archery and blow dry bar were coming together at the same time was, okay, how do I structure my work life so that I could at least be accessible to both if anything fell off. So it's wonderful with these remote workspaces. I decided to join WeWork, and so I have a WeWork right on the corner from the bar, so I can really be focused into my Archery time when I'm here. But I am a block and a half away if there's anything that happens. So logistically, just making sure that things make sense for each individual logistically. I think I'm a big proponent for reduce that commute as much as you can.
I am in awe. I'm a big believer in diversifying revenue streams, obviously within your business, but this is clearly a great way to diversify for yourself, your personal finances. So if we get back to the client space, it's been a disruptor. It's something that's growing 13% year on year from a CAGR perspective. Tell us about the broader mission and how you guys are differentiated versus the other players in the space.
Oh, great question. So as I mentioned earlier, our mission is really to deliver a better, more consciously crafted glass of wine. And some of that, the way we like to think about it is that we are a traveling vineyard. We go out and we find winemakers that think about their practices responsibly. We find winemakers that grow their grapes organically. So we have an ability to really deliver this very, very high quality liquid from those sources. What's also really cool is that we get to tell the stories of these winemakers and bring winemakers that might not have been sold in the US to this area because they're smaller batch. So we have a way to open the door for them, which I think is really, really fun. And it's so fun to get to know them and tell their stories. It makes it much more human. So I think that those two things really differentiate us in the canned wine category specifically. For the total wine category, the canned wine is certainly its own differentiator. But I think that the canned trends are going to continue to really rise for the wine category. And the path has been set from craft beer really going into the space and really living in it strongly into some of the very high quality items. RTDs are so huge, and it just makes sense for wine to be within this world. I was also actually speaking in the Uber on the way here. The driver was asking me, like, well, what about the cans themselves? Like, does that change the quality of the wine? But it's so wonderful that the technology in cans has changed so dramatically in the past couple decades. You know, there's a wire between the can and the wine. It keeps the integrity of the wine at a high level of quality. So those stigmas will continue to be reduced as technology is brought into the packaging as well to sustain it. So I think all of those things culminating together are just going to show a lot of promise for this category.
It's awesome. And, influencers obviously have a huge impact. And I know you guys have recently signed Elizabeth Banks as your celebrity endorsement. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. So our partnership with Elizabeth Banks is a really exciting one. It actually goes a bit beyond a typical endorser. We brought her on as an investor of the company and as our chief creative officer. So what we're really trying to do with Elizabeth is merge the two brands. There are a lot of synergies between the brands. She's a person, but her personality type, definitely a lot of synergies. I mean, we are trying to challenge things. We have a little bit of the fun category. We have a little bit of fun. She has this wonderful cheekiness and a ton of deliverance that allows us to challenge a lot of the quote-unquote tropes within the society of wine that makes it very human and personable. So our partnership with her has been really great. She's so participatory, and we review the content with her, and we really make sure that everyone feels that this is the right way to go. So it's been a true blue partnership. In fact, maybe it could be a good time to show. We had Elizabeth joined in about April or May of 2021, and so the first challenge in having her come on board is, okay, how do we introduce this? Because we're a brand that requires a fair amount of brand awareness, so we need to really bring the two together. So what we really wanted to do was start with an introductory spot that kind of brought her into the company as a whole. And then as time progresses, we're really going to start to build in and tell the stories a little closer to some of those product benefits and have them all be more from her point of view as she's kind of joined into the company. So maybe we'll take a second. Brianna, do you mind playing that for us? Thank you.
Oh, yeah. This Mama wants a can of wine.
One day I come home from work and Elizabeth Banks is here inside my house. I mean, I know her movies, but I don't know her. There she is, just rummaging through my kitchen. She won't leave. Ever.
Morning, sunshine.
Here's the thing. Elizabeth Banks really knows wine.
Nice citrus and peach on the palate. I should be the spokesperson! Marion!
I said no thanks. A celebrity beverage endorser?
Marion!
That's so cliche. But she just told me that she works here now.
Marion, how the hell do you spell sommelier? Is that even how you say it?
Next thing I know, she owns half the company. F me, right? But we're making it work.
Your toilet's clogged. Roose, luxury wine in cans.
Elizabeth's so fun. I'm sorry. Elizabeth's so fun, and she just embraces all of these moments. And so it just came to life with really showing our CEO and founder, Marion, and Elizabeth coming together as partners in just a really human, fun way. And so she's really opening up that communication opportunity for us. And she's been so supportive in really pushing us through her organic channels as well, so that we expand the audience and really raise the brand awareness together.
Great. And, she obviously is sort of the coming out. Where are you distributing these videos, and then what's sort of next? I know that you talked a little bit about a recycling video that plays well into sustainability. So, starting with this, where is it being distributed, and then where are you going from there?
Yeah, great question. So our media buys are focused in the digital spaces. We have placed, of course, in Facebook, Instagram. YouTube is a great place for us to start pre-roll. And then we also have done some test and learns of connected TV to try to make sure that we're meeting our consumers in those moments that they're really enjoying their content. And that was part of the strategy behind this, that we wanted the content to feel like entertainment rather than feel like a product forward commercial, so that it would feel seamless in those environments. Which has been great for us because the watch through rates have beat any benchmark I've ever seen. Sometimes our full washing rates are hovering 60 to 70%, and it's still skippable, which is just nuts. So thank you, Elizabeth, for helping us create that, and Colossus for helping to create some wonderful content, creative ideas. But so the introductory spot is certainly the beginning. The next phase of it are twofold. One is a series that we're called Talking Wine with Elizabeth Banks. And we're going to start to tell stories that are a bit closer to the product benefits. So there will be a spot on Recycling Day, kind of playing on the fact that wine bottles are quite noticeable when you're taking them out to a recycling moment. And maybe internally inside your head, you might be feeling like you're a bit judged by your neighbors. So we play into that a little bit so that we can hit home that we are in can and we are in a sustainable format. And then we'll also be starting to tell stories of Elizabeth's integration into the company itself. We're calling it Very Important Business Correspondence with Marian and Elizabeth. And it's basically her bringing a lot of her really interesting takes on what great business ideas really can look like for the Archery brand, while it's still really hitting on a lot of those product attributes, whether it's the regionality that it's grown or different packaging benefits that might exist inherently in the product.
And now let's play into travel. So we all know over the course of the last 2 years, we haven't been able to travel, and we've been doing quite a bit of drinking. So I would say the outbound category was probably pandemic proof, not so much the travel category. But what we found is that people are really going outdoors, taking road trips, going to beaches, which obviously the canned wine space plays really nicely into. So tell us a little bit about the way you think about travel and your strategy.
Yeah, that's a great one. Travel, the thought of travel is actually really inherent to the Archery brand. Archery is a fictional character. She's a woman riding a moose in a top hat to these foreign locales, and we like to imagine that she's found these wines and they're her postcards to send home to her friends and family. So during the worst of the pandemic, we were really leaning into telling some of the travel stories of our vineyards so that we could help people quench some of their wanderlust that everyone was really feeling during those times. So we were talking on our blog about, here's what's going on in Provence to pair with our Provençal rosé or our bubbly that comes from Veneto. How do we really bring some of those travel moments to our consumer base while we didn't have a chance to go there in person? The moments of drinking occasion is an interesting one as well, because it is a portable format. It's really a great thing to take to Central Park or hiking, which so many people were pivoting to in these days. I mean, I really personally upped my picnic game during those months. And I was joking with Allison earlier that Central Park turned into just like Central Party come about 5 p.m. So it was really nice to have an easy and accessible, no glass, no problem solution to those moments. As we look to the future and everybody's getting back into travel mode, I think it'll be so fun to see Archery's expanding its distribution moments. We're currently on JetBlue, and I'm really excited to be having our rosé on their flights. It's a wonderful moment to really remind people about the product and really meet them at a point when they're like excited and ready to celebrate doing somewhere new and cool. So I think that travel really is very synergistic to our brand.
So who's traveling home JetBlue? Make sure you check out some Archer Roose. That's great. Yeah, I mean, the way that we see the outlet space play into travel is so synergistic. When you think about going, traveling to new places, you want to try new culinary and food, drinks. So I can tell you, we've been having quite too many spicy margaritas and I'm in Austin. But tell us a little bit more about how you're thinking about the future of travel beyond sort of the JetBlue partnership.
Oh, the future of travel beyond. I think that we're hopeful that travel continues to pick up and maybe we can just really expand further partnerships. I think that our travel mindset as we expand distribution in a lot of different off-premise locations, we'll be able to meet the consumer at the beginning, middle, and end of their journeys. I think we had some verbatims come back, like some people, if they check their bag, they kind of just like to tuck a little Archery can in their bag so that they know that they have a good glass of wine at the end of the day, so they don't have to question what they're going to run into on the other end, and they just kind of can relax and have their special treat. So I'm just hopeful to really be with our consumers and be able to meet them however they really want to experience the wine.
And tell us a little bit more about who your consumers are. Are they millennials? Are they Gen Zs? What kind of outdoor activities do they like to do? And then how does that play into the way that you guys think creatively about your marketing and your videos?
Yeah, so we're probably breaking the rules of marketing a little bit. We have two core consumer targets. One is called Maddie. So she's probably about a 24 to 28 something young woman who is really starting to explore the wine category. Maybe she is kind of in her young professional journey and she doesn't really want to buy into the high ticket price point of some of the more luxury wines, but really wants to explore and have something good and not just like explore for the sake of exploring. So we really are trying to speak to her, and we think that the humor certainly lands with her. Luckily, Elizabeth Banks has just wide appeal. I'm not marketing the 12-year-olds, of course, but my niece even knows knows Elizabeth Banks. So I think that her broad appeal across a wide variety of ages, as well as male, female, really helps us to kind of hit that Maddie or Maddie's significant other. And then the second target for us is a woman who we call Melissa, who is a young mother. So she's the cool mom that has just started to transition. She's trying to balance her professional life as well as her motherhood. And she doesn't necessarily want to open a bottle of wine at the end of the day. If a glass and a half is the perfect treat, and so the can of wine and the single serving of that really has a chance to meet Melissa in the moment that she needs, that she would want. So as we look to finding our media placements, we're really thinking about those two targets and where they're living the most. Maddie's a little bit more Instagram, Melissa's a little bit more Facebook. So we're really trying to make sure that we kind of stay with messaging and speak to both of them, because we think that they're both so important and influential in the communities around them that we hope that really elevates the brand.
So is it women that's the core consumer? It sounds like those two examples.
Women are certainly our bullseye target, but we believe by targeting the female, oftentimes in the household, there is an extension, whether through friends, her community, a significant other, that we have the chance to really raise our awareness. And I've been told by many a male that they are big fans of the wine, and they're not ashamed to hold it in their hand. So we're very proud of our packaging. That even though our core target is female, it's cool enough that it doesn't make it feel like, oh, this is just a girl brand. It's
coming off the International Women's Day, you working for a woman CEO. How is it working for her? Obviously, bringing Elizabeth Banks in, you're a woman in leadership. Tell us about that experience.
Yeah, I'm very, very proud to be with Roose. The executive leadership team is primarily women, and so that alone is breaking a little bit of the biases that are out there. Marion and Elizabeth share a lot of synergies and values, and they've often discussed and bought into the idea that we're not just fighting for that seat at the table. We really want to build a table and invite many others to join us, and that includes all people, not just female. But we really want to make sure that as we think towards the future, we are really thinking inclusively to be better for the world. But honestly, it's better for business too. The best ideas come from a diverse team that has a lot of really different experiences, and then can merge on a single strong idea. So that's our wish for.
No, we're about time. So just to wrap us up, we're all looking forward to summer and spring travel plans. So can you pair one of the Archery wines with 3 top destinations that fit best?
Ooh, okay. the easiest answer probably is that I would pair the wine with the region that it comes from. So our rosé comes from Provence. So I've never been to Provence. Gosh, I want to go someday. So I would love to drink our rosé there. Our bubbly comes from Italy, so that would be really exciting. And this year, we actually have a direct-to-consumer channel exclusive, which is our Total Red. It's also coming from Italy, so I think that that's going to be a really great summer beverage. I love a chilled red, so I'm so excited to have that in our direct-to-consumer portfolio.
Great. I can't wait to try it. Thanks so much for the discussion. It was great to meet you, and I look forward to continuing conversations.
Thank you.
Stay right there, ladies. We have time for a question.
Hello. Okay, so you're obviously a chief marketing officer, but you're also an entrepreneur. So my question to you is, what is the key to your success, and how do you manage to incredible positions in life?
First of all, thanks. That's really kind. I don't know if I'm always managing it. But really, it just comes down to having a lot of grace with yourself, knowing that you're signing up for a lot of hard work. I've always been a hard worker. I got that from my grandma. And so know what you're signing up for, and then know that you have to have a lot of grace with yourself, that sometimes it's not all going to come together perfectly, but it's all going to come together. So just let it roll.
Can I give you a piece of advice? JetBlue doesn't fly to Paris. But since you live on the Upper West Side, you're very close to Newark International Airport. United will take you to Paris. You can then get a train to Aix-en-Provence and have that wine. And Aix-en-Provence, you'll have a great time. Thank you very much.